Most likely, you're not measuring your ROI correctly. Do this instead. A couple of weekends back, a friend of mine asked me why we had Zeus. He must be a lot of work, and it must be constraining your own work and curtailing your freedom to travel, he said. That got me thinking about the return on investment on Zeus. So like a typical engineer, I created a spreadsheet for analysis, listing out the cost on one side and the returns on the other side to compute my ROI. On the cost side, here's what I had. His price as an 8-week puppy, a fence we had to install in our backyard, a new crate, his food and toy expenses, his training expenses, the furniture he destroyed, the shoes he chewed, the rent that he does not pay, the time for walking him, the regular vet visits, and a lot more. The time and money spent are easy to measure. On the return side, I had nothing. There was no time saved or money made. So, should I give him up for adoption? Will I get more free time to do the work that I enjoy doing and travel the world? On paper, my ROI is negative. Then I realized that just because the tangibles are easy to measure and the intangibles are not, I do not put them on my spreadsheet. The joy of his enthusiasm when I return from work, his waiting by the door when I step into the bathroom, my health improvement because I take him on walks and runs, him bringing the family closer together, and his fierce protective instincts that give us a feeling of safety, each of these are priceless. I would guess that the real ROI is a huge number, but that's very hard to prove. How do you put a value on unconditional love and a wagging tail? The intangible value that Zeus gives our household is priceless. Yet, in business, we often take the easy path and measure only the tangibles, often ignoring the intangibles. It's harder to measure employee fulfillment, engagement, passion, innovation, creativity, customer delight, agility, and learning, the metrics that actually matter. Even worse is that we make critical business decisions based on the measures that may be insignificant in the larger context. That's like me deciding to give up Zeus for adoption because my paper ROI is negative. Companies like Amazon tout their measurability, so every other company wants to follow suit, giving them a false sense of confidence. As a result, many companies spend more time tracking the useless that don't matter at the expense of improving outcomes that do matter. That's because it's hard to deal with intangibles. A recent McKinsey study, shared in the description below, suggests that future growth and productivity will come from intangibles. So we better learn how to evaluate them properly. Wells Fargo thought they could use the average number of accounts per user as a proxy to measure the strength of customer relationships. This seems logical, but this drove their employees to open up new customer accounts without their consent. When the thing blew up, customers lost their trust in the bank, thereby weakening their relationship with the bank that the metric was supposed to strengthen in the first place. Use metrics with caution. On a more personal level, how do you measure the success of your life? Do you define that by how much money you make, how many degrees you hold, how many cars you own, how many houses you have, or how many Facebook friends you have, and so on? If so, then you're falling into the trap of measuring only the tangibles. The last year gave most of us an opportunity for self-reflection. Research shows that people have prioritized family, relationships, health, passion, service, and other such things over mundane work. That's one of the main reasons for the Great Resignation, where people are quitting their jobs to pursue what they care about. What's your measure of a life well lived? Just because some things are easier to measure does not mean we should, And just because some things are harder to measure does not mean we shouldn't. Perhaps your measure of success is to add meaning to your life. Live with purpose, have authentic relationships, appreciate and be grateful for what life gives you, and be part of something big. Leave a legacy and live a full life. Can you even put metrics on these parameters? Not to live life by the notion of success defined by others was a hard lesson for me to learn. Now, I get to define what joy is for me. Producing these videos is joy for me. I get energy from helping people around the world get a little bit better so that they can find fulfillment in their lives. If you used a time and money-based ROI computation on building friendships, having children, and taking vacations, you would never do them because their ROI will all be negative. If you enjoyed watching this video, please consider subscribing. Please sign on to my website for a one-page visual summary of this video. Thank you very much for giving me the motivation to do what I do.